What if I told you the most dangerous transformation a human being can go through doesn't happen from trauma, doesn't happen from failure, doesn't happen from losing everything. It happens from something much quieter, much slower, much more invisible. It happens from being kind in a world that punishes kindness. This is the story of a boy who started out feeling everything and ended up feeling nothing. And the scariest part, nobody around him even noticed it was happening. Stay with me, because somewhere in this story, you're going to recognize yourself. Let me paint you a picture. Young boy, not weak, not broken, just deeply, genuinely emotional. The kind of kid who felt things most people ignored. A harsh word from a teacher? That stayed with him for days. Being left out of a conversation? He replayed it in his mind for weeks. He cared about people in a way most kids didn't even understand yet. He wanted real friendships, real conversations, the kind where someone looks you in the eyes and actually means what they say. He wasn't naive. He wasn't foolish. He was just human, fully, completely human, in a world that was slowly about to punish him for exactly that. And here's where it gets interesting, because what happened to him next happens to millions of people. They just never talk about it. School started, and he became the nice guy. You know the type. The one teachers appreciated. The one who never caused problems. The one everybody was friendly with, but nobody truly showed up for. His phone was full of messages every morning. Bro, send the homework. Can you explain chapter 7? Please help me before the test. And every single time,
he helped.
Immediately. No hesitation. Because here's the truth. Nobody tells you about people pleasers. They don't help because they're weak. They help because being needed feels like being loved. And for a few moments every time, he felt it. That warm feeling of mattering, of being included, of being important to someone. But here's what nobody told him. There's a difference between being useful to people and being valued by them. And he was about to learn that difference the hard way. Because late at night, when the group chats went silent, he'd scroll through his phone and realize nobody had asked him a single real question all day. Not one person said, "Hey, how are you doing?" Not one person noticed when he was quiet. Not one person checked in when he disappeared. He was surrounded by people and completely invisible. Then came the small humiliations. The kind that don't leave bruises. The kind that are even harder to explain because they seem so minor. People would talk over him mid-sentence, like his words had no weight. His opinions got brushed aside. His presence was noticed only when it was convenient. And girls, they called him sweet. Which if you've been there, you know. Sweet is just a polite way of saying, you're not the kind of person I take seriously. And here's the part that really destroyed him. He started watching, paying attention, and he noticed something that confused him deeply. The rude boys, people chased them. The cold guys, people respected them. The emotionless ones, people found them fascinating. While he, the one who genuinely cared, genuinely showed up, genuinely gave, kept becoming more and more invisible. And slowly, without even realizing it, the world was teaching him a lesson, a dangerous lesson. Soft people get destroyed. You'd think home would be different. You'd think the people who loved him most would see what was happening. But whenever he tried to express how he was feeling, the response was always the same. Be stronger. Stop overthinking. This is just how the world works. Nobody sat with him in it. Nobody said, I hear you. That sounds really painful. They just handed him a shovel and told him to bury it deeper. So that's what he did. He stopped talking about pain, stopped reaching out, stopped expecting anyone to hold space for the parts of him that were breaking. And one night, lying in the dark staring at the ceiling, he had a thought that changed everything. Nobody is coming. Not a friend. Not family. Not anyone. He was alone with his own mind. And that realization didn't make him sad. It made him strategic. I want you to understand something important. His transformation didn't happen in one dramatic moment. There was no single event, no big betrayal, no explosive fight. It happened the way most things in life happen. Slowly, quietly, one small disappointment at a time. 100 small betrayals layered on top of each other. Until one afternoon, he was sitting with a group of people who had known him for years, listening to them laugh, watching them joke, and something clicked inside him like a lock. He realized these people don't actually know me, not the real version. They know the helpful version, the useful version, the one who makes life easier for them. But the version that was lonely, anxious, exhausted, that version had never once been asked about. And that night, he made a quiet, private decision. No announcement, no dramatic speech. Just a simple thought. I will never let people have this much emotional power over me again. And just like that, the soft boy started disappearing. He stopped texting first, stopped explaining himself, stopped reacting emotionally to things that used to break him, stopped chasing people who clearly weren't chasing back. And the strangest thing happened. People started respecting him more. The quieter he became, the more mysterious he seemed. The colder he became, the more powerful he appeared. People started using words like mature, disciplined, focused, emotionally strong. And here's the line I want you to remember, because it's probably the most important thing in this entire video. He wasn't emotionally strong. He was emotionally exhausted. There is a difference. Emotional strength means you've processed your pain and grown from it. Emotional exhaustion means you've buried your pain so deep that you've forgotten it's even there. One makes you powerful. The other just makes you look powerful. Years passed, and the external results were undeniable. Money, business, status, a lifestyle most people only see in photos. And ironically, the same people who once ignored him, overlooked him, talked over him, they were suddenly his biggest admirers. They listened carefully when he spoke, chased his attention, respected his silence. But here's what he knew that they didn't. They weren't respecting him. They were respecting what he had. And emotionally, those are two completely different things. So at night, alone, standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows of his penthouse, looking down at the glowing city below, he felt nothing. Music didn't move him anymore. Conversations felt performed. Laughter felt hollow. Even the most beautiful moments in his life passed through him like he was made of glass. The walls he built to protect himself from pain had also locked him out of joy. Then one night, a notification. He almost ignored it. That's what he did now. But something made him look. The name on the screen. "Mom," he answered. At first it was the usual things. "Did you eat? Are you sleeping? How's work?" Normal questions. Safe questions. And then she asked something. Something so simple. Something nobody had asked him in years. "Are you actually happy?" Not "Are you successful?" Not "Are things going well?" Not "Are you proud of yourself?" "Are you actually happy?" And he couldn't answer. Because for the first time in years, someone was asking about him. Not the version that made money, not the version that commanded rooms. Him, the real one, the exhausted one, the one he'd buried so deep he'd almost forgotten existed, and every emotion he had suppressed for years came flooding back at once. He sat down on the floor, and he cried. Not quietly, not controlled, violently. Years of loneliness, years of pretending, years of surviving by slowly becoming numb. All of it, at once. And through the tears, one thought emerged with total clarity. Becoming cold protected me from pain, but it also protected me from love. The saddest people in the world aren't always the ones who cry too much. Sometimes, they're the ones who forgot how to cry at all. The ones who learned through years of quiet disappointment that showing emotion was dangerous, that being soft meant being destroyed. So they locked it all away and became something that looked strong on the outside, while quietly falling apart on the inside. Maybe this story is someone you know. Maybe it's someone you've been. But here's what I need you to hear before you go. The version of you that felt deeply, that cared genuinely, that wanted real connection. That version never actually left. It's still there, underneath everything, waiting. Don't wait for a phone call to remember you're still human. If this story hit different, you already know. Why subscribe?